Good morning, everyone. It's Amanda. I just wanted to speak to you today a little bit about emotional eating, what it is, why it's responsible for people's success or failure on their weight loss journey, or even just a journey to build strength and maintain overall fitness. Morning, Jessica. I appreciate you guys joining me live. Throw me some hearts or share this video if you think it's going to be helpful for other people. I'm going to make sure and go through some action steps at the end of this video to kind of give you some tools and things you can do to help combat this. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up and the likes and the hearts. You guys are awesome. Knowing, identifying why you're having cravings, when you're having cravings, things like that, those can be huge, helpful tools to have in your toolbox. So when you are on a fitness journey, you can prevent, I love seeing all the hearts, thank you guys, you can prevent these common pitfalls that we all have. A lot of people use the term emotional eating and they don't necessarily know how to identify it or what problems it causes, and then even if they do know they emotionally eat, they don't really have the tools. Hey, good morning, Chrissy. They don't really have the tools to fight it. Like, I might know that I'm emotionally eating, I'm not really hungry, and I'm sitting there with a pint of Haagen-Dazs at night, but what can I do to make myself not do that next time? Does that make sense? So knowledge without action isn't really helpful. So I'm going to try and give you those action steps at the end that will really help you identify what these are, and then I will write this up into a blog when I'm done with this video, and you can check that out over on my blog if you want. If you don't know me, my name's Amanda Noddings. I am a busy mom of two. I work full-time at a local hospital, and I also I'm someone who's lost 100 pounds and kept it off now over 2 years. Actually, I'm at about 90 pounds now because after losing that initial 100 pounds, I put on about 10 pounds of muscle. And so I'm no expert in the field of nutrition. I'm no expert personal trainer as far as workouts. I'm just somebody who's a mom, who's been on this journey, and who's done a lot of research and learned the hard way, oftentimes, what works. And then I also am a health and fitness coach, an online motivator, and I help other people have success on their journey. And through doing that, I've been able to identify a lot of patterns and a lot of tips that can help people on this journey. So first, let's just talk about emotional eating in general. It's when you're eating for not actual hunger. Oftentimes it's a situational thing, sometimes it's a social thing, and thanks, Chrissy. Yeah, it's been quite a journey, 100 pounds lost. And it's not always something that you feel you have control over. A lot of emotional eating habits are tied to control. So let's just go over a couple of reasons people eat emotionally or without thinking, I would say, that maybe you'll notice might be things that you've done or not done. I have a few notes here, so if you see me looking down, that's why, because I don't want to get off track. I kind of have a tendency to go shiny and go off on stories. So the first reason a lot of people eat, which I am 100% guilty of, is boredom. One thing about our society is we really tend to emphasize being busy, which I am very busy, and oftentimes people equate that with success, which isn't necessarily true, but we encourage people to be busy and be always doing something and not just sitting and relaxing and being idle. And while that can be great, being busy is a wonderful thing. I don't mind it one bit, but what that tends to do is make us feel uncomfortable in moments of just silence. Like, have you ever been on a date and there's that like dead air time, like flat line where nobody's talking and you're just kind of like, so, and you kind of talk about anything that just pops in your head? That's like a space filler. Well, the same thing is with eating. If you're sitting around the house and let's say you just finished doing the dishes and you've cleaned the kitchen counter and your laundry's folded and you're like, what should I do? And you're like, oh, look, pistachios. Maybe it's just me, but sometimes you're doing these things just because you're bored and it's like something to do to keep yourself busy, and there's a social stigma kind of identified with just not doing anything. So there's one reason, is boredom. Another reason that people might, or a situation that might arise that people might find themselves in, is social eating. So you might not actually be hungry at this point, but you're at a party where there's food, or you went to someone's house and they prepared dinner. I love seeing all you guys pop on. Thank you for sharing this video with people and inviting them to watch it. Thank you for the hearts and the thumbs up. I really love that. That really helps me get my message out, and so I love that. Thank you. So your social situation, it's not so much peer pressure like an old DARE class from high school or junior high or elementary school where someone's like, come on man, everyone's doing it. But it is everyone standing around talking, we're watching the football game, somebody made these foods, they took time to prepare them for you, and so as almost like an obligation, you feel like you should be eating them and participating with everyone else, because that's what everyone's doing. Everyone has a plate of food and everyone's watching the game, and everybody wants to tell you, hey, thank you, this is so good, you made this, it's awesome. So that's a social pressure situation that might arise, that might get you to eat more. I love your comments, guys. Thank you. Another reason that we eat without necessarily needing to eat is comfort food. Now, I think that if you guys have ever been in this experience, I think any of you right now could name a comfort food. That one thing that you think of, like when you just want to feel good and homey and like curled up by the fire with a warm blanket, watching movies and eating popcorn with your family, things like that. Like, go ahead and drop your comfort foods below. I love to read them. There's like a noodle goulash, like a cream of mushroom, we call it noodle glop in my family, that my dad used to make when we were kids, and it's completely unhealthy, but it's so delicious, and it was just one of our common meals as a kid, and it reminds me of family and comfort, and it makes me full and warm, and that's something. Warm brownies, anything baked really is my nemesis. So grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup, my favorite lunch as a kid, and one of the lunches at the summer camp I went to. We look forward all week to grilled cheese and tomato soup lunch. So that associates with me like, oh, good memories. These baked cookies called buckaroo bars my grandma used to make. They remind me of going to her house, and they're kind of like 7-layer bars with all the goodness and the chocolate chips and the coconut, and they're just really yummy. So I think of those things. Baked potato, that's a good one, and especially if it has bacon and cheese, right? So those are comfort foods. And what we tend to do is we attach the food to the memory instead of the actual action or the people. They're all intertwined in our head. And those comfort foods become things that we then rely on when we want to replicate the emotion that we had at the time we had that memory. So if you take that a step further, it's not just that eating this 7-layer bar reminds me of my grandma, or eating grilled cheese and tomato soup reminds me of summer camp. It's not that simple. It's more than that. It's that summer camp was fun, and I felt secure, and I made new friends, and I could be anyone I wanted to be, and I felt confident and loved, and it was adventurous. It's like being at grandma's house made me feel safe and loved and secure, and so those foods that she used to make really evoke all those emotions in me. And so when I'm looking to replicate those emotions in my life now, my subconscious kind of puts those foods at the top of my mental like priority list. Like, oh, you know what would be really good right now? Fresh out of the oven baked chocolate chip cookies, because those make me feel good. When in reality, it's the memories of having those chocolate chip cookies with my mom when she had made them, and we used to bake them together, and it's one of my like very fond mother-daughter memories, is her teaching me how to bake and how to make recipes and things like that. Those evoke good memories of my childhood. So when I want to jump to those foods, hi Casey, hi Anna, hi Casey again, 2 different Caseys. Thank you guys for sharing, inviting people to join this, and just spreading my message around. It really helps me with my goals, so I appreciate that, and I love that if you get value out of this, you're giving me those hearts and shares. That's wonderful. So that's comfort food. That's a big factor, and a lot of us do that, and it always comes back to the emotions. When you want to feel loved, you are really trying to evoke a chemical response in your brain, which is the release of hormones like serotonin and dopamine. Those are the same hormones that are released when you are an IV drug user, addicted to heroin or opiates. Those are the same hormones. They're like pleasure chemicals, and those are the neurotransmitters. I don't want to get too sciencey, but those are the neurotransmitters that you release that send a message to your brain that you're happy, right? That you're happy. Well, those are the same emotional transmitters that you have when you fall in love and when you're in one of those loving moments, in the heat of the moment of passion, or just a safe, secure, loving moment where you're cuddled up with that person that's your person. We've all experienced that at some time or another in our lives in some way, whether it's a parental love or a significant other love. And those hormones, that dopamine, the serotonin, we want that. And so that's what keeps us coming back for ways to create that hormone. We want that message in our brain telling us that we feel good. We want that message in our brain that tells us that we're loved and happy. And so we're trying to replicate that. So that's another reason that people tend to fall into this pattern of eating the foods maybe they don't want to eat, or eating when they shouldn't be eating and they don't really need to be eating. Okay, stress. Stress is huge, and this is a big part of my life too. Although my life, some of our financial stress and other stress has lessened, and in some respects, some of it has come back as we've moved forward and become homeowners, parents, work. You try and challenge yourself at work to advance your career or to get to the next level. Hi Amy, hi Lindsay. And so that can cause stress in your life. There's a lot of reasons for stress. Sometimes mitigating factors that you can't control, things that happen to you, those things are valid. Hey Christy. So you'll have a car accident, or someone in your family becomes ill, they're downsizing at work. These things cause stresses that you can't always combat, and a big response for a lot of people to stress is to eat. But what we're trying to get to the bottom of this is why, right? Well, that's because of your body's fight or flight response. At least that's one factor. So when you had a stress back in the caveman days, let's say, right? My hair is frizzy. Sorry. When you had a stress back in the caveman days, there's a saber-toothed tiger coming around and you're, what do I got to do? And so your body immediately, peep show, your body immediately reacts and increases all these hormones that makes you hyper alert and energized. So one way that you can also mimic that response to stress, it makes you want those fight or flight hormones that help you deal with stress. Well, nowadays you don't have that saber-toothed tiger around the corner, but you might have these other stresses we just talked about. And your body will want to consume foods that are going to invoke that same response. So high sugary, high carby foods, not good carbs, not complex carbs, but things like candies, cookies, anything with sugar or white flours, whatever, they give you an instant release of that sugar, which spikes your energy and heightens your awareness and mimics that fight or flight response that makes you feel more prepared to deal with stress. So that's a common cause, right? And the ultimate result of that is that after that big spike, there's a big crash. And then the cycle continues because now you're below your baseline and you're looking to replicate that. Depression. Depression is a huge one, and this is one that, if you know my story, I have a big old struggle with. And hi Todd, hi Aaron. Thanks for joining me, guys. I really appreciate the likes, thumbs up, comments, and shares. It really means a lot to me, and that you help me share what I have to say with other people in case it might help them. So thanks for that. So depression. Again, I don't want to get too sciencey, and I don't want to get too personal and start crying in front of a video, because God knows I have enough of those on my YouTube. You can check them out whenever you want. But when you struggle with depression, you have a decrease in motivation, you have a decrease in your self-esteem, and you have an increase in just overall tiredness. There's a physical response in your body that happens from depression that makes you tired, de-energized, you don't want to do as much, you don't want to shop and plan your meals, you don't want to take the effort to cook. Uh-oh, battery alert. Sorry. So there are actual real-world results that happen from being depressed. And then also there are, your body is going to try and convince you to do things to lift your mood back up. And again, that's invoking those dopamine and serotonin releasing in your body, trying to replicate that feeling. So depression is a huge factor, and your appetite and your emotion are controlled by the same part of your brain. The limbic system in your body controls both appetite and emotion. So it only makes sense that those two things go hand in hand. If you guys have questions, please drop them in the comments. And if you are finding this helpful, let me know, because I really would love to do more videos like this if you find it helpful to you. So anyway, moving on, I'm going to move my little notes so I don't get too far off track. A common method of emotional eating is binge eating. And hey Casey, no wonder you're always tired. I know, it happens because you're spiking when you have one of these episodes where you eat something that you probably shouldn't, that's really high in sugar, then you're going to have that crash, and your body's going to try and regulate it, because nobody likes this, right? That's why we have the term emotional roller coaster. Nobody wants to ride it. So you're trying to regulate yourself, and you are kind of ultimately making it worse and creating this like cyclical effect. So binge eating, same thing. Maybe you're trying to get those comfort hormones, maybe you're bored, maybe you're any of the other reasons we've talked about, but binge eating can be a result of that. And it also leads to eating disorders like anorexia, bulimia, disordered eating patterns. When someone wants to binge, and I've had experiences in all of these departments, unfortunately, and when you want to binge eat, you're going to consume a massive amount of calories in one sitting. You're going to have the ice cream, you're going to have the this, you're going to have the that. Anything that you can mass consume in one sitting, a giant bag of Oreos, put it all in your face, no matter whether you feel full, no matter whether or not you aren't actually hungry in the first place, because you're trying to fill that void emotionally that you have, and idle hands. And what happens is there's a guilt associated with that behavior. And anytime you have guilt associated with your food and eating habits, that is not a good thing. You shouldn't feel guilty, and I struggle with this still. You shouldn't feel guilty if you do eat something bad. Like when I was camping with my family a couple weeks ago, and I ate a s'more, and then another s'more, and then another s'more. I had to let go of the guilt associated with that and just say that I'm camping, and it's a once a year event and experience with my family, and it's something that I am choosing to do. Empower myself that I'm making the choice to eat those, and not attach guilt to the action. Because when you attach guilt to the action, you are setting yourself up for an emotional response associated with food and your eating, right? So how it ends up leading to bulimia is you have consumed all of these calories, but you don't want to gain weight, and it's like one bad decision, so you're like, let me just get it out real quick, and it's like it never happened. It's like a big bing reset switch. Or even anorexia, which isn't necessarily what you picture. You might know someone anorexic or bulimic and not even know it. Hi Gordon, thanks for joining. Because they will go long periods without eating to try and control their weight or their body. They have sometimes body dysmorphia, where they're associating what they look in the mirror and see is not what they actually look like, but in their mind all they can see is the flaws, and they magnify it and become something different from what they're looking at. It's indicated by like an obsession with food, a fear of becoming fat, and it can lead to bulimic and starvation and disordered eating habits. So this is really important if you do suffer from emotional eating, to identify it so that you can keep yourself from going down the same path. And then of course there's just food cravings, and we've all experienced them, men, woman, child. We all have moments where we just want that one thing. You don't have to be pregnant to have a food craving, and you just want that one thing, and you can't stop thinking about it, and that's all you want. I had this experience just a couple days ago with blueberries. I mean, that was all I could think about. My husband brought me home blueberries. I felt like a pregnancy craving, because they were so good. I just wanted more, and that's all I could think about that was going to satisfy that craving. Sometimes those are chemical things. They're like your body telling you need those nutrients and telling you what you need, and you need to listen to. And sometimes they're just a craving, and it's just something you want, and we are used to always giving ourselves what we want. We're looking for immediate gratification. We are a serve me now society. We want what we want when we want it, and we want it now. My husband always makes fun of me because I always make fun of the commercial that you might have seen. Is like, If you have an annuity and you need cash now, J.G. Whitworth, 877 cash now. It's like, I always get stuck in my head. So, excuse the singing, but that's what I always go back to. Like, I want it now. It's, it's mine and I want it now, Daddy. That's like the society we live in. And so we don't take time to identify what the reason is we really want to eat this thing or why we're making this choice. We don't want to waste time thinking about it. We're busy. We got stuff to do. So we're just like, let's just get it. Where is it? It's right there. Perfect. And we reach for the prepackaged thing, the thing that's handy, the thing that's right in front of us because we need it now. And that's not necessarily how life is supposed to be. If you want to do that caveman analogy again, you can go back to the day where if they wanted to eat something, they had to work for it. They had to go out and hunt for it. They had to go gather berries. They had to go prepare it or find it and work for it. And that was a great way for people to go, huh, am I really hungry? Because if I'm going to go out hunting, I must really be hungry. We don't have that anymore. That was like a stopgap to keep us from making those choices, and we don't have that anymore because now I don't have to get ready to go hunt. I don't have to suit up. I don't have to get my weapon. I don't have to make sure the weather's okay. I don't have to go out and gather the berries. I just open the fridge or open the cupboard, and there they all are. I drive down the street, and there's a place you pass every 2 minutes offering you just what you want and just what you're craving at that very time. I'll get a text message. So thank you guys for joining. If you just popped on, I'm just talking about emotional eating, and now I'm about to get to the tips. If this is helpful to you or you think that someone would enjoy it, I appreciate the likes and the thumbs up and the hearts and the shares. I really appreciate it. So let's get into the tips that you can do. These are action steps because, like I said in the beginning of this video, knowledge without action is just stuff bouncing around in your brain, and it doesn't give you any tools to actually change a behavior. So let's talk about some tools. The first tip I have is, some of these might seem redundant, but they bear going over again. Water. Okay, seriously though, this is a good tip. If you have some with you, drink it now. So this is a real tip, and it sounds stupid, and we've all heard, like, drink, excuse me, I adjust my legs, falling asleep. Well, oh yeah, drink more water, drink more water, drink more. Well, first of all, most of us don't drink enough water, so that is a valid tip, even if it seems repetitive. If you want more tips on how to make yourself drink more water, that's something I can offer you in one of my challenge groups, or you can go check out an article on my blog maybe, but just know that that's a separate conversation. But drinking more water, one of the reasons it's really important is because the initial signs of early dehydration, and hi John, hi Brianna, are the same as hunger. So you might feel certain body responses, and your brain is reading them as, oh, I need something to eat, but really you're just hungry. So that is a great tip. Drink some water, take a minute, and then see, do I still feel that way, or did I stop thinking about the food I was thinking about? Maybe you were just needing a little water, and that can be a big, great first step. And the more you do it, the more mindful you are about it, the better off you are, and the easier it gets to drink your daily water goal. If you need help figuring that out, let me know, and I'll help you come up with a good water goal for you. The second tip I have is to eat in the morning, and eat something that is balanced. So whether that's having a Shakeology like I might, or the breakfast I had this morning. If you follow my Instagram, you saw I had a parfait I made with Greek yogurt and berries, and I put some shredded unsweetened coconut on top. What you're looking for is a balance of protein, carbohydrate, and fat that is healthy fat. So not like going and getting like a burger, because that has protein, fat, and carbs too, but that's not the right kind. But you want to start that morning off, that meal. You need to eat something shortly after waking up, maybe an hour after waking up if you're not hungry right away. But that resolves those issues that you might have and those signals of your body when it gets too late, where you're so hungry that then you're going to grab the first thing that comes along. Which leads us to the next tip. Don't let yourself get extremely hungry. When you're extremely hungry, your brain doesn't care what type of food it picks up. It's going to grab whatever's there. Your body is not going to take the time to evaluate whether you're hungry, to drink the water, to look for a good choice, because now you're so hungry that anything will do. So that is your third tip. You need to make sure you don't get extremely hungry, and drinking your water and starting right in the morning and having a good meal to start your day. And I don't like to be like super full in the morning, and I'm often not hungry. So for me, that meal was small, but it was a good foundational start for my day, and it helps get that metabolism going, and it wakes your body up, and it starts filling the, they call it breakfast because it breaks your fast. You've spent many hours not eating while you were sleeping, so your body needs something when you start going and start moving throughout the day. So if you struggle with making bad food choices, you might want to try and make sure that you're eating something early in the morning. Now, if you're someone who follows intermittent fasting, we can go into that. There's great benefits to that, and I enjoy that way of eating too. But if I'm struggling with poor food choices and eating a bunch of stuff I shouldn't eat, then that's not a good plan for me right now. So that's why we're talking about this. This is a great tip, okay? Number 4, distance yourself from the craving. So this is both like physical distance and emotional distance and mental distance, okay? So hit all sides. You want to change your thoughts and you want to change your environment. So if you're thinking about these cookies on the shelf or whatever, and you're just going over and over and over about thinking, oh, I should grab those. Oh, those are right there. Oh, they're there. Remove yourself from the kitchen. I don't care if you're cleaning the kitchen right there and you're around all the food. If you just want to keep eating while you're in the kitchen, then maybe you need to remove yourself from the kitchen and take yourself out of that situation. If you went out and spent 10 minutes cleaning your office, or 10 minutes cleaning your bedroom, or 10 minutes, maybe you go take your shower. When you're doing those things, are you still hungry? Are you still craving that? If you're in the shower the whole time going, God, I wish I wasn't in the shower because I really want those cookies, then maybe you really do want the cookies. But if you were really hungry, would something else suffice? Or does it have to be just cookies? Because if you're really hungry, it doesn't necessarily have to be just cookies, right? It would be actual food. So distance yourself mentally and emotionally from the craving, and then physically. If you are at like we use the example of football, because I love football and I love to make food for my family and my friends when they come over and watch football. I love to go to people's houses and watch football. It's fun for me. I like the social aspect of it. Now, if you're sitting right next to the snack table, you are probably more likely to keep eating this stuff, and that doesn't mean you're actually hungry. It means it's right there. So if you were to stand up and walk to the other side of the room and talk to some different people, or be in a different location and watch the game and focus on that, would you still be hungry and absolutely need the next second, third, fourth plate of nachos? Or would you feel satisfied and stop thinking about the nachos because they're not right in your face? So the physical distance and the emotional distance are something that you can do. Another thing, and these are kind of 2 tips and 1, and we kind of touched on them earlier. Planning your meals and then having healthy snacks on hand. So if you plan out your meals, even loosely, even if you don't follow it perfectly, but I make a general plan for what I'm going to eat for the day, and if I end up having chicken for lunch instead of the turkey salad that I had planned, then I just adjust from there. But if you plan and make sure you have those meals around and have a general idea, I always start with dinner and work my way backwards. If I know I'm going to have pasta for dinner, then I'm probably not going to have a ton of carbs all day because I'm going to have them later. Or my general pattern is I try and have my carbs earlier in the day so my body can use them for food. So maybe I'll have some, oh no, somebody's weed whacking. I hope you can still hear me. Or chainsawing. Maybe we'll move inside to finish this. Sorry, guys. That's the beauty of going live. You never know what's going to happen. All right. I'll try and set you up in here in the kitchen where you can actually hear it and finish this up, because I know I'm going on and on. Let's see if this is a good spot. Need to find a prop is my problem. Where could I put you? I wasn't prepared to come inside. Note to self, be prepared. Let's see if this works. Oh my goodness gracious. Always something when you go live. And I'm flashing you. Okay. And now that will drive me crazy. There. Okay, so let's wrap this up. What were we talking about? Food choices and having snacks and a meal plan. So even if you don't follow the meal plan exactly, and it can be intimidating to make a meal plan if you aren't used to it. I understand that, and that's why that's one of the things I focus on in my groups, is helping people learn to make a meal plan and helping people come up with the tools they need to create a good meal plan, to hit all the foods that they need, to have ideas so you don't get bored, and recipes that are really simple and things that your whole family will enjoy, so that you don't feel like you're always eating something that someone else is not eating, or you're making different choices than your family. So having a plan of action and a plan of meals that you can make is an excellent way to stay on track. And the partner tip to that is having healthy snacks on hand. So I'm like at the wrong height, so like I'll just squat now that I had to move my video due to chainsaws. Okay, so if you have healthy snacks around, like for me, I always keep serving a Shakeology in my locker at work in case I get too busy. String cheese in the fridge for a quick healthy fat if I feel like I have an energy drop. Little packets of almonds, but I can't leave a big bag of almonds in my car because I will eat all the almonds. So little packets, you can Ziploc them up in just the right serving size and have them so they're easy to grab in the day. An apple, a bowl of fruit. Like I have cucumbers and zucchini here on the counter. I can chop that up and eat that really quickly at any time. Same goes for my kids, the little cutie oranges and apples around. An easy, quick, healthy snack, so that when you come in, you have options to eliminate the guesswork of convenience, to eliminate you grabbing something just because you don't have time. There are lots of foods that are not packaged by plastic that are healthy, whole foods that will help satisfy your cravings and give you the fuel you need, so that you're not making these common mistakes and these pitfalls where you end up choosing something like I have done a million times, and I probably will again this week. But I just want to share like some things like bananas and apples that are there and ready for you if you need them. Another great tip, and there's lots of good tips for this in my clean eating group we're doing next week. We are going to I'm going to be sharing snack recipes all week, and there's going to be some things like homemade granola. Gosh, people, don't you know I'm doing a live video? Leave me alone. Okay, wrap this up, I swear to God. This is a huge one. Stress. If you listen to the first half of this video, thank you guys. Hi, Jason or Kristen, whichever one of you it is, because you have one of those joint married accounts. Lindsay, hi, thanks for joining. Thanks for sharing, you guys. Thanks for the likes and the thumbs up. It really helps me spread my message and reach more people and maybe help some more people. So I love and appreciate you for tuning in and for sharing it. So stress. Stress is a huge factor, one of the ones we went over in the beginning of this video. And so my first tip with that would be eliminate stress that you can eliminate. For instance, if you are always stressed out in the morning getting your kids to school, is there something that you can do that eliminates that stress? So I know it sounds silly at first when you hear it, oh, eliminate the stress. Well, duh, if I could eliminate it, then I would. Low battery, gosh. I should have prepared better before this video, huh? I didn't know the neighbors were going to chainsaw though. So don't take it as just like, oh yeah, sure, I'll just eliminate all the stress in my life and everyone will be happy and I'll eat perfect and I'll have a great body and everything will be good. My God, child. This is not how I intended this to end up, but I guess that's what happens. Okay. Please don't fall. Okay, that's what we get. Anyway, but there are things you can do to lessen your stress in any given situation. So maybe with a little pre-planning, if you're stressed in the morning, like I said, could you start having your kids pick their outfits out the night before and having them ready so that they don't have to think so hard when they're tired about what they're going to wear that day? Can you start doing things like I did last night? I wanted to make sure I had a healthy breakfast ready to go and I didn't want to think about it. So I made these parfaits that you can see over on my Instagram. I got them ready. I put them in mason jars. They're beautiful. They're delicious. They're a good, healthy morning meal, and they're ready to go. I don't have to think, okay, what am I going to eat? Okay, what are the kids going to have? We all had this. It was great. Delicious, easy. Keeps in the fridge all week. So when I'm stressed out and in a hurry trying to get my kids to school, I already have their shoes always in the shoe place before bed. I have them pick out Olivia anyway, pick out her outfit before we leave for school so that it's ready, so that she doesn't have to think so hard. So, oh my goodness, people are calling me. If it's a client, I'll get back to you after this video. So those things are things you can do to lessen the stress and make things much easier on yourself if you want to. So think about that. And if you're in a job you hate that's super stressful, is there something you can do? Is there a schedule change? Is there a position you can take? I was so stressed out working evening shift, not seeing my daughter when she started school, that even though I'd been on that shift for 3.5 years, I had to make changes because I was stressed to the max because I wasn't seeing my daughter. And so I had to choose to do something different to change my situation to lessen the stress. So it wasn't necessarily easy, or it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do for any other reason other than my kids are my number one, and I wanted to make sure and be around them more. And so I had to make a schedule change. And even though that's been a difficult adjustment for me, it has lessened the stress in my life. So we went over the reasons why stress affects how you eat earlier, but now you know why it's a huge trigger for eating and something you can do about it. So aside from removing the stress, sometimes the things that stress us out aren't things that we can control. That cupboard open is driving me crazy. It's on my Shakeology stash. Anyway, so when you have a lot of stress, you are searching for that dopamine, the serotonin, the instant reaction to feel better, and you really want all those emotions we talked about before, and that leads to increased cravings, and it leads to eating things you maybe shouldn't be eating, and it leads to impulsive decisions out of convenience and time, and it leads to weight gain. So eliminating stress is great. Lessening your stress can be good too. So that means like trying meditation. If it's like 15 minutes or 5 minutes, there's so much scientific research on what 5 minutes of meditation in the morning can do for your overall mood, your ability to cope with stressors. So meditation is a great tip for eliminating stress. Yoga, my personal favorite. I don't do really well with sit still, so meditating is sometimes difficult, but I do great with active movement and regulating my emotions through yoga and trying to center myself. So even if I can do a 5-minute sun salutation series in the morning that, like Beachbody On Demand has a yoga series that's for beginners, that's phenomenal, and all the way through advanced. And you can pick one of those, work your way through it, and change your whole outlook on the day. And I can do it anywhere. I can do it at work. I can do it on my break at work if it's a stressful night, because I have On Demand on my phone. So whatever it is for you, I'm sure you can Google and find things on YouTube too. I'm not just trying to talk about that, but those tips and tools are real and they're helpful. So yoga, eliminating the stress, meditating, and then the other one, of course, is exercise. I know nobody likes to exercise, but guess what? Those same stress hormones we talked about before, serotonin, dopamine, those feel-good hormones, when you exercise, your body releases those hormones naturally, and you're going to start feeling less stress and happier naturally, because you have created those emotions in your body through exercise. So that is a great tip for eliminating stress. Hey Brandy, hey Isabel, how's the baby? So that's a great tip, lessening the stress. Another thing that you can do, another action step or tip, is mindful eating. So what does that mean? Excuse me. So mindful eating is when you take the time to be aware of your hunger, your cravings, basically all the things we've been talking about in this video, and the emotions that surround your choices with food. So you need to, it ends up, when you're a little more mindful with your food, you empower yourself because you're making better decisions that you feel like you have more control over. So mindful eating is a great practice, and how you do that is you take the phone away while you're eating. You turn the TV off while you're eating, and you focus on actually eating the food and enjoying what you made, enjoying preparing it for your family, putting a little thought into it, and then enjoying making it. She's great. The kiddos are fabulous. We're having their birthday party. You'll have to come. I will get you the details. It's like in a week and a half. So all those things are just great steps that we could all do more of, and I'm guilty of. I'm guilty of being on my phone while I eat, especially since I'm eating alone at work a lot of times. But if you just take the time to be aware of what you're eating and what you're putting in your body, that can go a long way towards keeping you from eating things that you don't necessarily want to eat. All right, let's see what's left. Sleep. Oh God, this is my worst one. Sleep is a huge tip. You have stronger cravings when you're tired. You have less willpower when you're tired because you're just not mentally and emotionally as strong as you would be if you're well rested. Also, a lot being sleep deprived or overly tired has an effect on your appetite control and your appetite hormones. So if you're sleep deprived, you're really likely to make poor food choices. You're really likely to maybe eat without thinking about it, and before you know it, you look over and there's an empty something there, and you're like, wow, I don't even remember eating that. That happens when you... Hi. What is that sound?
Wet.
Come here. You're wet?
Yeah.
How'd you get all wet?
We're playing with water. I'm gonna go change.
You're playing with water?
Yes, with the neighbors.
Okay, and why would you do that in your shoes?
They're sandals.
Oh, okay.
Waterproof.
Waterproof shoes. She's so cute. Okay.
Oh, I can use those bottles for water.
Oh, cool. Sorry, live video. Sorry, guys. Okay, my almost 7-year-old. So there was a study in the UK that said that people who were sleep deprived showed, even through childhood all the way to adulthood, obesity, 55% more likely to be obese when they do not get enough sleep. This is a huge one of my challenges when it comes to eating and making good choices, as I work nights and I'm up during the day with my kids, so I'm commonly sleep deprived. It's the biggest area of my health and fitness that needs improvement, and one I try and be the most conscious of. But even though I suck at it, that doesn't mean I can't at least tell you about it, and that's why that's on the list. If you can allow yourself to get more sleep, if you can make yourself go to bed a half hour earlier, turn off the late show, watch the replay the next day, whatever, and just put it, don't say, well, I have to stay up till 11 so I can watch Fallon. You can watch it tomorrow. Just try and get yourself a little more rest, power nap if you can, whatever it might be. That will go a long way towards those healthy choices and your cravings and your strength when dealing with those. Hey, Amanda. So we have gone over mindful eating and sleep and snacks and planning your meals and being prepared and all these tips that can help you. Drinking your water. What's left is support. Support comes in so many forms, you guys. So whether it's if you're in a challenge group like I run, that's great. You get support from a bunch of people and me in that group. Maybe your support will be your spouse, your partner, your best friend. Maybe you have like a friend that wants to be on a weight loss journey with you, or a fitness journey or health journey, or you can tell them that you're working on something and you just say, hey, can I use you this week as somebody I can call every time I want to do something stupid like eat a bag of cookies? Because chances are if you get on the phone with them and start walking around while you're talking to them on the phone, even if it's just a 5-minute phone call, not only do you get to talk to a great friend, but also you're not sitting there, so you're probably not going to sit there and eat the cookies because you can't while you're talking. So identifying if it's an emotional eating response and if you're not hungry, remove yourself from the situation emotionally and physically, spatially. You're not standing right next to it. And then enlisting support in whatever way, whether it's through a coach like me, a challenge group, a friend, a phone call, your go-to buddy, so to speak. Those are all great ways that you can enlist support, because everything is harder by itself, you guys, and everything's easier when you have people helping you, or when you make it real and you utilize the support system you have. And if you don't have a support system, find one. Stop sitting there. I mean, I don't want to get on a soapbox, but stop sitting there and saying, I don't have anyone to support me on this. I used to do the same thing. Well, none of my friends were as big as me, so they weren't trying to get healthy. Or maybe they didn't have kids, so they weren't as motivated to live a healthy lifestyle, to be a good role model for their kids as I was. That's a huge motivator for me, because I want my daughter to see healthy habits and see that growing up, and just ingrain it in her daily exercise. That's normal, that's natural, that's healthy, that's just what we do. We brush our teeth, we floss, we bathe, and we exercise, and we eat well, because that's what we do. That's really important to me. So that's a huge motivator for me. But getting in touch with that real reason why you're doing it can be huge, and then enlisting the support. So if I need to call my husband and say, dude, like, this is what I had to do when I was first on my journey. I had to say, Daryl, if you keep buying bags of Doritos and putting them in the cupboard, I am going to keep eating the bags of Doritos. So I had to say, would you do me a favor? I know that you're okay eating the Doritos, but I'm not strong enough to resist them right now. I didn't have all these tips and tricks I just shared with you. And I had to say, could you just do me a favor and keep those in your truck, and you can eat them when you're at work, but that way they're not in the kitchen. Now they can be in there and I can like ignore them. Our house guest has granola bars here on the counter I keep looking at. They're there, but I don't want to eat the whole box because I know I'm not actually hungry because I did these 10 steps. Maybe not all of them, but I'm talking to you, right? So there's talking to someone. I had some water. I ate a good breakfast this morning. I have a snack planned. I'm having my Shakeology next. I'm going to do my workout to get those feel-good endorphins that I want. And I'm not going to rely on food to supply those. I'm practicing mindful eating. And if I'm really starving, I could have some chicken and it would satisfy the need, right? If I just can only have these granola bars, then it's probably not a physical hunger response, probably an emotional response, right? So I hope these tips were helpful. I know it went on a long time. I know we started outside and we ended up inside, but I really wanted to identify what emotional eating is and help you see ways you can fix it so that it wasn't just talking about it, but giving you action steps to change it. My team is running a clean eating challenge group next week, and it's free. It costs you nothing. You can jump in the group, and it's going to be called Snacks, Smoothies, and Squats. So each day I'll have a little mini workout exercise thing you can do that's booty and leg related, so squats, and each day will be different. And then I'm going to be just sharing a ton of clean snacks, recipes, meal plans, grocery list to go with it. You can use it, follow it exactly. You can take it and experiment, change, whatever. But that gives you that support aspect. It will give you a lot of knowledge, a lot of new foods to try. And then if you really check in with yourself, you can see how well you feel. Summer is like this time of year, things are changing. You're going to go back to school, and creating a foundation for that health and fitness right now is a great way to prevent falling into some of these seasonal traps that we all get affected from. That's huge for me. I suffer from SAD, or seasonal affective disorder, where I tend to really get depressed when the weather changes and the sun and the vitamin D lessens. And you know, being someone who struggles with depression anyway, this time of year that's coming is hard for me. So being prepared in advance really sets me up for success, and I want to help you with that too. So if you want to jump in our clean eating group, just send me a comment, send me your email, just tell me, hey, I want a spot, and I'll add you in there. We start on Sunday, and it's just going to be focused on taking care of ourselves a little bit better. If you want a 7-day supply of Shakeology with that, I will send it to you myself, and I can give you that so you can try that in conjunction for a week and see how you feel, or you can order it from Beachbody, but please ask me for the link so that you don't order the wrong way, because it tends to happen. People get distracted and get to the wrong thing. So anyway, if that sounds like you, if you want help, if tips like this help you, if you're ready to make a change or you want to stay more on track, please send me your email and let's get this show on the road, and I will add you in that group, because it's just really important to me to be able to share this and help other people and give you the tools to make this a lifestyle change and not just some gimmick. You know, you taking some sort of pills or patches or whatever is not going to give you the long-lasting success that you want to do this and get results for life. I firmly believe that. And granted, it's just my opinion, but it's an opinion backed by results, as you can see while I'm standing here in front of you, and by the millions of like transformations all the time, well, not millions, but you know what I mean, that have been happening on my team and within my challenge groups, is because real food, clean eating works, and getting to the bottom of why you make poor choices really works. So I'm here to help you if you want. I will cut this off. I'm sorry for the chainsaw, the location change, the falling camera, and everything else. I hope you found this helpful. Email me or message me after this, and I'll get you in the clean eating group. We start Sunday, and I'll get you your grocery list. All right. Have a great day, you guys. Thanks for joining me. And as always, live healthy, live happy, and I'm here to help you. Love you guys. Bye.